and managed to run off the road onto the sidewalk and into the doorway of a building for cover. We did hear gunfire, saw police running that direction. We stayed in the alcove until the gunfire stopped, came out into the street, and came across several people who had been hit. Wanted to see what we could do to help and administer in first aid. The people we came across were unfortunately
that's exactly the reason why I stay home.
FBI says the
Can't even have fun
who
no
was
more.
behind the wheel of that truck is also dead after a firefight with police. Investigators are looking into whether the suspect was connected or inspired by a foreign terror organization, and they're analyzing potential explosive devices. Now, this happened just before the Sugar Bowl, a major college football game that always draws a huge crowd there. With us now is CBS News national reporter Katie Weiss, who's based in New Orleans and has been at the scene all morning. Katie, good morning.
Good morning. It has been a chaotic, scary, mixed bag of emotions kind of day for so many people here in New Orleans. I happened to be in the French Quarter this morning just as these events were unfolding. Right now, I'm just a few blocks away from that scene. But while I was there this morning, I spoke with eyewitnesses who did see the event actually happen. One woman told me she had to dodge out of the way as this truck barreled into a crowd of people on the iconic Bourbon Street in the French Quarter of the city. She said thankfully her husband is okay, but the truck clipped his ankle. Unfortunately, so many others not as lucky. While we were there waiting for police to let us leave the area where this happened, we were seeing people laying on the ground all over the street on Bourbon Street,
enjoy themselves.
Some people killed, and police
dead
first responders
right before
trying
New
to render
Year's.
aid
Can't
to
even
them
see
to
the
help them in any way they could.
Can't even see
Some people
January
getting
1st.
put onto stretchers, taken to hospitals.
They gone now.
We know now so many other people are recovering in the hospital.
35
at this hour. We're going to
people,
continue to try to get more information for you.
Some of them 35 might die.
Learn more, but certainly a scary moment, an unforgettable day in New Orleans today.
Certainly. Katie Weiss, thank you so much. And now we're going to turn to Scott McFarland in Washington. Scott, what's the latest on the investigation?
The FBI says they're investigating this as a potential act of terrorism, and they're the lead investigative agency, as is often the case, or necessarily the case with suspected acts of terrorism. A long gun has been recovered from the scene there in New Orleans, and there also is that review of potential explosive devices, and also a review of whether there's a connection or a nexus between the attacker and any foreign terror organization. None of this is happening at a vacuum or at a trivial moment. The Sugar Bowl is in New Orleans tonight, and the Sugar Bowl.
They on the move though. At least they on theirs. I like that.
Organizers of that event
They took off.
and
They're ready to go apprehend them and kill them too.
Safe and secure. Federal agencies
I gotta keep replaying it though.
The Department of Homeland Security is part of this. The U.S. Attorney General and the Department of Justice are leading this through the FBI.
I'm gonna cut this out. Y'all doing too much.
Police to be a component of any response and any investigation. But where this goes next is always critical. We'd expect already or in the coming minutes and hours a broadening review of this attacker and any potential plotters, planners,
what's his name?
Conspirators, or those
Where
who
you
may
from?
have known what this attacker had in mind. We'd expect law enforcement to descend on this attacker's home, wherever that may be, and families, wherever that may be. Also a concern about safety of pedestrians moving forward in the French Quarter.
All right, Scott McFarland,
That's
thanks.
crazy.